Why should we learn Chinese? Let's watch a clip of the 2012 Republican presidential debate, which can give us a clue about the answer.
My own view on the relationship with China is this, which is that China is stealing our intellectual property, our patents, our designs, our know-how, our brand name, and they're manipulating their currency. And for those that don't understand the impact of that, I've seen it. And that is, if you hold down the value of your currency artificially, you make your products artificially low priced and kill American jobs.
It's important to note, as they would say in China, that 他不太了解这个情形. He doesn't quite understand this situation. What he is calling for would lead to a trade war. You slap on tariffs, you talk tough like that. Of course you have. That's got to be part of it as well. But in the end, we get a tariff in return if we don't sit down and have a logical, sensible conversation. And who does that hurt most? It hurts the small businesses and the small exporters who are trying to get back on their feet in this country at a time when this nation can least afford a trade war.
This clip from the New Hampshire Republican presidential primary debate in 2012 shows how Mitt Romney and Jon Huntsman diverge in their view of China's currency policy. China was the most frequently mentioned foreign country in the 2012 presidential campaign. Regardless of whether China was referred to in a positive or negative way, it is clear that China is becoming more closely linked to America's economy. According to research by the Federation of American Scientists, the total U.S.-China trade was $5 billion in 1981. In 2011, it rose to more than $500 billion. China is currently the United States' second largest trading partner, its third largest export market, its biggest source of imports.
When I went to China, we promised that we would work with you to double the size of this facility. We kept our promise.
I found a good aphorism that I wanted to share with you. It goes something like this: 老智福利，志在千里. Now, a li is basically the Chinese equivalent of about a half a kilometer. The older the ginger, the hotter the spice. Maybe you can relate to that one. We're trying, like never before, to institute programs for young kids that will make them lifelong learners. Now, why is it important that we begin creating lifelong learners? Well, when our kids step out of school and when they begin to step onto the world stage, and I say the world stage is anywhere on this great planet of ours because we're such an interconnected, globalized economy, they need to understand the world. And moreover, they need the skills that will allow them to be competitive, regardless of what they choose to do. And we know full well that the kids these days, and I would say that in China things are probably roughly the same, particularly along the eastern seaboard where there are many opportunities. Our kids are going to have 3, 4, 5 different jobs during the course of their career. And they're going to need to be fast on their feet. They're going to need to be studious and inquisitive and curious, regardless of where they go. So what is important for us and our teachers in our schools is to begin at a very early age to make our kids lifelong learners.
Aside from its economic importance, many Americans are attracted to China's culture, including music, art, and historic attractions. People from all over the world are eager to ascend the Great Wall, the world's largest man-made structure. China is one of the 4 ancient civilizations and the only one in continuous existence until today. Confucianism, a philosophy that influences lives throughout East Asia, originated more than 2,500 years ago. In the same era, a Chinese military leader and philosopher named Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War. Today, the strategies from the book are still studied by military, political, and business leaders throughout the world. Peking Opera, with its unique performance and singing style, attracts artists from all nations. Today, numerous Chinese cultural elements influence Americans' lives. We can see evidence in gyms, movies, shopping malls, and schools. Educational cooperation between the U.S. and China is increasing. Many Chinese students study in the U.S., and increasing numbers of American students visit China.
I went to China this summer, and I took Chinese classes over there, and I made friends, and it was pretty cool, like being able to talk to Chinese people in China in Chinese. So, learning like another language helps you expand your mind and stuff.
When I do schoolwork, being bilingual is also being like multicultural, so I can use elements from other cultures, like in art I can use elements from Chinese art, or I can use elements from Chinese writing in writing. So it helps me create works that are unique, and that's good.
And I view Chinese, it's very inspiring. It's a new perspective, especially for me, and then for my friends. My friends don't really look at Chinese like that, but with me speaking it and with them speaking it, it makes them look at Chinese in a whole totally different way. We start to incorporate Chinese to our own belief systems and our values, and then I start to learn more about China. The more and more I go through these projects, and the more that we start to take and dwell within China, whether it be movies, going out on field trips, or anything like that. So it really just inspires me more and more as I continue to learn.
The greatest value of learning to speak Chinese is to create future opportunities. As cooperation between the U.S. and China is increasing, many companies are hiring people with Chinese language skills, such as international businesses, hotels, and the tourism industry.
Motorola is one of the first outside companies to invest in China back in the 1980s. And early in my career, about 15 years ago, my first time to China was through business. Motorola invested heavily in China, and they have a large operation in Tianjin and probably other. We also have a design center in Chengdu. My company, Motorola, the headquarters is in Schaumburg, and there's just many Chinese in there. And I've been invited to some nice parties and have developed nice relations with some people from China because they know that I'm interested in the language, the history, the culture.
Oh, we have some Chinese customers, but our situation is really unique because we have a Chinese distributor. So, yeah, like for example, our company needs some interaction with a professor in China. So basically, I was able to serve as a liaison, basically present our request to the Chinese professor and also translate the response to the our side, the company. Really speed up the whole process, because otherwise you have to go through a translator and you don't even know how much it takes. So this is really kind of like real time. And also for the Chinese customer, I was able to interact with them directly without have to depend on some third party. So yeah, I definitely think it's helpful.
Today, Chinese language programs are prevalent in American public schools. According to the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, the number of U.S. students learning Mandarin Chinese increased 195% between 2005 and 2007. This number is still rapidly increasing. Are you ready to catch the trend?